We're all about the Archers. I'm Philippa.
And I'm Quentin.
And we're here to talk to you all about what's happened so far this week. We will be covering Sunday the 10th of March, the 11th of March, and tonight, Tuesday the 12th of March, there will be spoilers. Now, before we say anything else, Quentin, I think we just need to say a huge thank you, first of all, to Lauren and Katie for stepping in last week and hosting the episode while I was poorly. You were superstars. Thank you so much. But without further ado, Q, what did you think of the week so far? What did you think of tonight's episode?
It's been quite a brutal week so far. We get onto that in a minute, primarily from the likes of George and Chris as well to Alice. Tonight it was the turn of the peacemaker Kate, wasn't it? To smooth the waters between Jacob and Yakety Yak Paul. And she calmed Jacob down and persuaded him to go and apologise to Paul. And it all went very well, I thought. I thought they were just going to talk about him being pleased that he rearranged the products for the customers. I forget the line. It was something about canine leads and something else. And he was just about to leave the door. I thought, "Oh, Jacob, please, please." And he did. And he apologised. And they both apologised, didn't they? And actually, I was quite impressed by Paul recognising that he needs to grow up and not be quite so annoying. And then I love the Kate's self-awareness at the end of the episode saying, well, I don't care. I'm not bothered who likes me or dislikes me. They can get on with it. What can I do about it? So I was quite impressed by Kate actually today. I'm a fan, as you know. I love a bit of Kate. Always stirs things up. And I thought she was good tonight. But we had some more George. What did you think about tonight then?
Well, I was just so worried that Kate was going to say something about Alistair and Denise because we hadn't heard Kate and Jacob discuss true, yeah. what he would say in his explanation. So the whole time I was grimacing, thinking
yes.
She's going to say, "Oh, I'm so glad he's told you about Alistair and your mum. That makes it so much easier," because that would have been the drama moment. But thank goodness she didn't. So yes. Huge thumbs up for that. That was a relief.
But we have yet to have that moment when Paul finds out, haven't we? And how will he take it? I
don't think he'll be happy. He's a traditionalist. He loves his dad and he loves his grandmother, and he's just got this idealised image of his parents' marriage, I think, as a lot of kids have. And so, I think he will
stupid,
be affected.
is he?
But
he's not stupid. He's probably worked out they don't really get on. And he's tonight revealed some self-awareness, not wanting to be annoying. So maybe he'll say, "Do you know what, Mum? I understand." I agree with you. It's going to be, as a man who's recently had a tooth pulled out, be like pulling teeth. But maybe we're in the realm of self-awareness and revelation with Kate and Paul. No, I think for the drama, Paul's going to have a great big hissy fit and not be very happy about it.
Also, we had Emma coming up with phrases this week, or tonight even. I feel like she's going to start doing a positivity channel on Instagram or something, because she was saying, Kate, first of all, we had "nothing gets better by letting it fester." Well, easily said. And then Emma was saying, "You've got to be resilient." So I felt there was a lot of this sort of positivity being crammed in. But my question to you, Quentin, is this going to work? The whole business idea with Emma and Ed and Will providing the guarantee.
I'm glad you've raised this. I've got in great big blue letters here on my notes, what does Emma know about tree surgery? I mean, Ed tonight said, talking about their expertise, she's never been up a bleeding tree in her life. We recently had an ash tree taken down in our garden because of ash dieback. Have they got any idea what is involved in tree surgery? We had 3 experienced tree surgeons here. The gear they had, the ropes, the abseiling they had to do, the weights they had to carry, the huge pieces of wood falling to the ground. I don't think they have a clue about tree surgery. And Emma certainly doesn't have any.
But they are going to
scale a tree and chop it down.
They will get properly qualified, I think. Thank goodness. They will get this course. But I don't know. I was feeling
I
positive
think
about
they
it.
realise that when they get on the course, that it's beyond them. Honestly,
I was feeling positive
it's
about
nonsense.
it, and then Ed said, "Oh, it's only a loan." And at that point, I thought, oh no, this is going to go wrong. And I don't want it to go wrong, because finally I want something to go right for Ed and Emma. But this inclusion of Will, and Will just sounds like he thinks he's Alan Sugar. He's so full of himself, and he's only got this money
Well,
because he inherited it. He's not made better choices.
he inherited it from Auntie Hilda, didn't he? I was reading up on it tonight.
Yes.
He got 120 grand from a long distance relative. And for some reason, Ed got nothing. He was the only one who seemed to receive any money from this.
Because she wrote the will just after Will's birth. So Ed hadn't been born then.
Ah.
So that's why.
Oh, had he not?
But,
right. Okay. But I mean, Eddie and Clary got nothing. Is that right?
Yeah, it went to Will. I mean, people often push money down a generation, but
Yeah.
So Will annoys me, and this sort of passing off of it being all his observations on the business plan when it was
it's
actually
not.
Brian.
I mean, he's Brian Light, isn't he? I mean, these smart targets. I mean, that must have made your blood boil. Smart targets is a dreadful acronym that I've forgotten what it means. So I'm glad.
Measurable,
I'm glad Emma shot
achievable,
that down
realistic targets. Yes.
Oh, right. What does the S mean?
Seriously sizable.
Shoddy. Yes. Right. Okay. Yes. Kate maybe laughed tonight. Jakob would like to live in an ordered world of near silence, but has chosen to live it in chaos with me. Again, more personal self-revelation by Kate. So she went up my estimation tonight. But overall, I think it's been a brutal week. As I said, George has really been, because a few weeks ago, George laid into Ed and Emma, didn't he, about how embarrassed he was at school with this menage a trois, and we had that great line today when Emma said, "It's a three-way relationship." And he said, "I wouldn't go around shouting that in the village, not with your history." I mean, that was one of my favourite moments. I thought that was a great line. Yeah. And he didn't pull his punches, did he? "Don't be a mug, Dad, that's all I've got to say. Have you lost your mind? If these two clowns mess this up, you realise your family will be out on the street." And he just went on and on. I mean, tonight he said something, didn't he? Sex ought to be banned for old people. And
also,
there was something else he said.
As much as I dislike George normally, this week I was almost agreeing with what he was saying, because it hadn't occurred to Will that he could lose the house, which seemed ridiculous.
George,
and sadly,
is a smart cookie. He's a smart cookie.
Well, let's not go that
said
far.
This before.
This week he was making some
savvy.
Well, I enjoyed hearing him talk this week, but also I think they've been very clever this week. They've given us sort of two sides of the situation. With George and Will and Ed and Emma, you can see that they're doing their best to create a business and come up with an idea that could work. But George, who we don't always like, being the voice of realism. And then also we had Alice and Chris. And you could see both. Well, I could see both sides there as well. I could see Chris being very defensive and protective about the child, about Martha and Alice, but also you could see Alice's point of view. So I thought it was it's been a very clever 3 episodes where there's been a lot of chat. Yes. Yeah. What was your view on Alice?
Well, I mean, as
Chris?
I said, again, there were some brutal exchanges. That seems to me the theme of the week so far, sort of brutal honesty. Chris sort of really gave it to her, didn't he? But that's coming from a very hurt place, isn't it? Saying, "I feel like I can't trust you again." You almost put Martha in a car with a drunk. This whole notion of still being very angry with her because he heard about it from Harrison, not from you.
Mm.
And then her pushing back, saying, I'm sorry, but, Martha comes first. There's no more I can do I'm working my hardest to lead a better life. What more do you expect of me? So there's a lot of, pent up, let's be honest, pools of passion between them. There's sort of great connection between them. But as she said, it's always going to be difficult between us. Lots of people on social media saying, oh, it's all boiling up to them getting back together again. Will it or won't it? But what I was left with feeling, and you and I were podcasting throughout the height of our alcoholism, weren't we? Week after week. And in a way, I've got nothing left. I feel drained by sort of following her entire story. So when I hear them hammer and tongs again, pardon the forged pun, it's like, I've got nothing left, you two. Please.
But I felt we needed it. Because Chris has been far too reasonable. He's just taking on, even though Harry was horrible to him, he didn't rail against it. And I think in a way we needed this sort of explosion for maybe Chris to be able to deal with things in a better way going forward. But we've already been talking for 10 minutes. We haven't listed any more faves and flops. Quentin, quickly, your faves, your flops.
Well, we've been doing.
Tell me.
Well, we've been doing.
Yes.
Well, we've been doing the important stuff here.
Any other faves and flops we haven't mentioned so far? Go on.
Loads of faves. Kate turning up for tea at the cafe. What is that monstrosity? As she looks at that hideous cowhide above her, and she refuses to sit underneath it as a vegan. Love that. I love the total smut of Fallon to Kate about Emma. She's proud of the stiffness of her whip on the cream. Excellent. Yes. So those are my additional faves. Yes.
Okay. So yes. Carrying on from that, I love Kate saying about the hide that it was a flayed part of a once sentient creature. I thought that was a lovely way of putting it. And I love the fact that the first person into the tea room for this Mother's Day afternoon tea to get mothers away from the stress and anxiety of looking after their children was Kate, who has just spoken to her kids on the phone for a couple of minutes and that was it. So I like that. I was concerned about whether they were moving a hide or a hive. At one point I thought they'd got Jill's bees in the tea room and were moving the hive.
I thought
but that
they were talking
wasn't
bees.
It. And I loved Emma popping up when Chris and Alice were having their little chat and Emma opened the very squeaky, creaky gate and interrupted their rather heated discussion. And my other fave as well is Justin having a look at the business plan as well and what will come out from that. I think that could be quite funny. Food.
I thought there's some very good sniffs from Chris. I thought he conveyed his upset very well with opportune sniffs because he had been crying, hadn't he?
Yeah. Bless him.
Yeah.
But yes,
you're a big
food.
softie for Chris, I know. Yeah.
Let me cover the food. We had simnel cake, vegan full afternoon tea with fruit scones with jam, no butter or cream. The full works afternoon tea with meat, fish and cheese, sandwiches and cake, veg soup and toasty combo, sounds nice, and a piece of cake. So superb food references there, I think. But now we need to head straight into flops very quickly.
Flops. I have. I couldn't believe the cost of a hideous cowhide, £200 each. And I've got another flop here. Oh yeah, when Will was asking what an influencer was, and I thought, good on you, Will, because I can't bear all that culture of social media influencers. So yeah, that was a good flop. I think putting him down, saying for God's sake, get a proper job, mate. How about you?
Yes, I thought the £200 per hide was ridiculous. I didn't like the fact that Tony had chosen the colour of the hide to match. He said, which I didn't know if that was to match the cows that they have or to match the tea room. But George was saying, oh yes, it's very dark in there. So they're doing, it just sounds awful. And the fact that George has to go back tomorrow to help with the hides again. How long does it take to construct this? I don't know. And
he's George is far more civil, politely suggested a question whether it was a good idea to hang hides. So again, I say to you, George is much more savvy than you're giving him credit for, because he knows it's an appalling idea. When he was talking to his employer, yes.
Okay, star of the week. Who would you say is your star
George.
of the week? Oh, okay, fair enough. Yes.
Controversial, but he's had some cracking lines. And I think actually deep down, I fundamentally agree with a lot of what he has to say. He's been pretty cruel as well. But, that cruel line, I don't see how you would suddenly trust the two of them who've never been successful at anything in their lives. They live in a caravan. That was an appalling line. But half of you's laughing as well. So, but I think he spoke truth in a brutal way. How about you?
Fair enough. Well, my star of the week is going to be controversial as well, because it's Paul, because he was very good with Jakob. He provides tissues for upset customers. He sends sympathy cards. He sends Christmas cards. This is just the loveliest thing. Team Paul all the way. But predictions. Go on, Q, before we run out of time. What's your prediction?
Well, we pretty much said it. I think Ed and Emma's tree surgery business is not going to get off the ground. It's a Grundy endeavour. How about you?
Oh, dear. Well, my prediction is someone, please, will steal the hides. And it will be like the whole bunting exercise where,
Yes.
who has stolen the hides, who stole the bunting. It could go on for years. So that's my prediction. But that's it. We've run out of time, Q. We have to go.
Already?
Thank you, everyone.
Already?
Yes. Thank you, everyone, to our patrons who took part in the spring live event last week. It was a lot of fun. You can still, if you become a patron, there'll be a link in the show notes, and you can still watch that event. We answered questions, we provided an update on merchandise, and we talked about what interviews we've got coming up. So it was a lot of fun. Thanks, everyone. And on Saturday, we're back to doing interviews every 2 weeks now. And on Saturday, there will be an interview, with Holly, who plays Alice. She is fabulous, and we can't wait for you to hear her. But apart from that,
she was a complete delight. She was, yes.
She really was. But for now, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's an au revoir from me.
Goodbye, everyone.